What's up y'all, welcome to the Fighting Wisdom. Since Izzy has a upcoming fight, I will break down his style. Now let's get into it. Upbringing and early life. Israel, the last stylebender, Adesanya was born on July 22, 1989, in Lagos, Nigeria. He was the eldest of 5 children in a middle-class family, with his father, Oluwafemi, working as an accountant and his mother, Taiwo, as a nurse. His parents prioritized education, and young Israel was an academically inclined child. However, he was more drawn to the world of animation, anime, and martial arts films, particularly those of Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and Naruto, which would later influence his fighting persona and approach. At age 10, his family relocated to Ghana briefly before settling in Rotorua, New Zealand, in 2001. As a Nigerian kid in a predominantly Western environment, he faced bullying, which he later admitted fueled his motivation to pursue martial arts. Unlike many combat sports athletes who start young, Adesanya didn't begin training seriously until age 18, when he joined a kickboxing gym after being inspired by the Muay Thai film Ong Bak. He quickly excelled in kickboxing, amassing an amateur record of 32-0 before turning professional. He later moved to China, where he gained invaluable experience before transitioning to Glory Kickboxing, ultimately compiling an 80-5 professional record. Seeking a new challenge, he shifted to MMA in 2012, training under Eugene Bearman at City Kickboxing in Auckland, New Zealand, alongside future UFC champions like Alexander Volkanovski. Fighting style breakdown. Adesanya's striking style is a masterclass in technical prowess, fluid movement, and psychological warfare. He seamlessly blends kickboxing, Muay Thai, and boxing while incorporating elements of traditional martial arts and freestyle creativity.
1. Striking fundamentals. Adesanya's base is rooted in kickboxing, but his approach is heavily influenced by Muay Thai and a deep understanding of distance control. Stance and guard. Primarily fights in a wide, bladed stance, allowing him to manage range effectively. His lead hand is often extended to probe, measure distance, and feint. Uses a low guard when fighting at long range but raises it when engaging in close quarters. Distance control and range management. Uses footwork and feints to maintain optimal striking range. Employs a step-back counter system, luring opponents into overextending before punishing them with counter shots. Constantly switches between orthodox and southpaw, though he favors a right-hand orthodox stance. Precision over power. Adesanya's striking is built on accuracy, timing, and shot selection rather than brute force. Prefers sniper-like counters rather than wild exchanges. Known for setting traps by using feints and baiting opponents into making mistakes. 2. Signature weapons. Adesanya has a wide arsenal of strikes, but these stand out. 8. The jab and feints. His jab is among the most efficient in MMA, often doubling it up to disrupt rhythm. Uses constant feints, head feints, hip feints, and shoulder feints to confuse opponents. The feints help set up bigger shots, such as his check hooks or straight right hands. B. The lead hook, check hook. A devastating counter weapon, particularly against aggressive opponents. Notably used to knock out Robert Whittaker in their first fight at UFC 243. Works well off his back foot when circling away from pressure. C. The head kick. Uses a question mark kick, where he fakes a low kick and whips it up high. This technique is heavily influenced by traditional martial arts like Taekwondo and Karate. He caught Paulo Costa clean with this kick at UFC 253. D. The low kicks. His calf kicks are among his most dangerous weapons, often chopping down mobile opponents like Marvin Vettori and Jared Cannonier. He sets them up with feints and angle changes, making them hard to predict. E. The pull counter. Master of the lean-back counter, similar to Floyd Mayweather's style in boxing. He pulls his head back just out of range, then fires a counter straight or hook. Most effective against wild strikers who overextend, such as Derek Brunson. 3. Defense and movement. Adesanya's defensive skills make him extremely hard to hit cleanly. Head movement and slips. He leans back and rolls with punches, making his head a difficult target. Uses subtle shifts in weight to avoid being stationary. Footwork and lateral movement. Constantly pivots and circles away from opponents. Uses the cage as a defensive tool, bouncing off it when pressured. Prefers outside foot positioning against orthodox opponents, keeping them off balance. Takedown defense. Early in his MMA career, Adesanya was vulnerable to takedowns. Over time, his wrestling defense improved significantly, with notable performances against Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori, and Robert Whittaker. Uses the whizzer, overhook defense, and sprawls effectively. Has an underrated ability to get back to his feet quickly when taken down. 4. Psychological warfare and fight IQ. Adesanya is a master of mind games, using trash talk and psychological warfare to break opponents before they even step into the octagon. He downloads data in the early rounds, studying his opponent's patterns before exploiting weaknesses. Never rushes his finishes. When he senses an opening, he systematically dismantles his opponent. Weaknesses and vulnerabilities. While Adesanya is an elite striker, he does have some weaknesses. Takedown defense against elite wrestlers. Struggled against Jan Blachowicz, who out-wrestled him at UFC 259. Taken down multiple times by Alex Pereira but showed improved grappling. Pressure fighters who cut off the cage. Struggled against fighters who apply smart pressure without overcommitting, such as Kelvin Gastelum and Alex Pereira. His movement is key to his defense, but when forced against the cage, he becomes vulnerable. Power punches with good timing. His loss to Alex Pereira came from Pereira's ability to time counters and capitalize on Adesanya's reliance on head movement. Fighters who throw in combinations rather than single strikes have better success. Conclusion. Israel Adesanya is one of the most technical and creative strikers in MMA history. His combination of precision, footwork, fight IQ, and psychological warfare makes him a nightmare for most opponents. While he has some vulnerabilities, particularly against elite wrestlers and power punchers, his ability to adapt and evolve is what keeps him at the top. Whether he's setting up highlight reel knockouts or putting on striking clinics, the last stylebender remains one of the most fascinating fighters to watch in the UFC.